Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily, coming at you live from Boston Pizza Taylor today, ahead of Canada's big match tonight in the World Cup, 5 p.m. Winnipeg time. All the Boston pizzas throughout the city will be throwing Canada Red watch parties. So if you are taking in the show live on YouTube at work, get out early if you have to and get your butt in a seat and throw the red on and get ready to watch the biggest game in Canadian soccer history and hopefully our first ever win in the World Cup. Obviously, we'll be paying attention to the Bosnia-Switzerland game. That is getting going at the top of the hour. Another key game in Group B as it pertains to Canada and their World Cup hopes. We'll also be paying attention to the U.S. Open. Shinnecock is doing a number on the world's best. Only 4 players under par right now, including Rory McIlroy and Ludwig Åberg. Scotty Scheffler still about 3-4 over par right now. But we are going to talk lots of Jets today. We played that clip yesterday of Darren Dreger on TSN That's Hockey. He went on Barn Burner out with our friends at the Nation Network in Calgary yesterday. We've got some clips that if you haven't heard them, I think shed a lot more light into what this situation actually is as it pertains to the future of Connor Hellebuyck with the Winnipeg Jets. We will talk a little draft as well. Coming up in our first segment, we will pick the brain of one of the guys from Hockey Prospect, hockeyprospect.com. Brandon Rewucki is going to join us. And then later on, Andrew Collier, GM of the Fish, is actually going to pop in. They got a big home series coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the ballpark. And he'll also tell us about the Ballpark Brew Fest coming to the ballpark coming up in July. Jake Bullen-Moss is going to join me. I'm cooking up some things for this Canada game today. So we'll get to that as well as everything else in the World Cup going on. Listen, just before we get going, shout out to a bunch of folks here. Great to see some familiar faces. And if you are thinking of coming out this afternoon, maybe you catch the end of the show and then hang out for the rest of the game, your local Boston Pizza is going to be the place to be. Along with some of the other great pubs that support the beautiful game here in town. Do want to thank our great hosts here at Boston Pizza, of course, our partners at CoolBet, as well as Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, St. Vital Dental Center, Rolly's Transfer, Manitoba Battery, Clean Line, Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. The Tri-Hospital Dream Lottery. Do not forget, you got till June 25th, midnight, to get your tickets for the biggest grand prize draw ever. And your chance to win $1.35 million tax-free Canadian. Royal Sports, your World Cup headquarters, the Goldeyes, Travel Manitoba, Assiniboia Downs, Aikens Lake, Breezy Bend, and, of course, our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug. I have a feeling there'll be quite a few Little Brown Jugs consumed in happy hour today for Canadian soccer fans. But welcome to everyone listening on chat. Shout out to all the podcast listeners. And welcome into the boys, Michael Remis and Connor Rabchak. What is going on? Great to get the gang together on the road. We've done a few of these lately, and it's always great to get out in the community. But I got to say, Reem, no better place to be hanging out this afternoon than in a Boston Pizza sports bar with the soccer going on, the U.S. Open, and, of course, the anticipation for our big game at 5 p.m.
Yeah, super pumped to be here at Boston Pizza. Seem to be rolling pretty good. They've got a nice setup here, a number of TVs, U.S. Open, Blue Jays in action right now, and, of course, World Cup. And we're all here rocking the red and excited for Canada, Qatar. Is it this afternoon? Is it tonight? It's 5 o'clock. It's very in between. I'm not sure.
Connor, what's going on? By the way, you guys look great. You got the red jersey. You got the white jersey. Yeah. I've got my World Cup shirt and my Canada jacket. And, of course, this scarf guy now. Big scarf guy. Let's go, you Reds. Vibes are high, though, going into this game tonight.
Yeah. And I love you know, a lot of people are talking online about TSN's set design in Vancouver over the water there, but look at Winnipeg Sports Talk. We got a pretty nice set design going here at BP with the World Cup ball behind us here. So I'm pumped for this game. Hopefully Canada can get their first win at the Men's World Cup. Looking forward to it.
Dude, that is the plan. And yes, that massive World Cup ball behind us. There's a whole bunch of great promos here at BP. They got beer specials going on. If you come 3 times during the World Cup for any games to BP, you'll have a chance to spin the BP prize wheel and get in the draw to win one of 3 of these massive World Cup balls. And I'm not sure whether it comes with the extra large pizza stand, but it is amazing how big that thing is, and it fits absolutely perfectly in the pizza stand. But I've been here at BP for a few of the games so far in the World Cup. It's been amazing. I mean, obviously I was at the first Canada game. From talking to Callista and the gang here at BP Taylor, it was absolutely bananas, and I have a feeling that will be the case. So as I said, we'll be on top of this. We're going to be paying attention to the Swiss-Bosnia game and counting down. And I got to tell you guys, I'm really looking forward to 5 p.m. because when that kickoff happens, I will be 100% locked in on Canada's national team, and I won't have to think about the possibility of the Jets trading Connor Hellebuyck anymore. Unfortunately, I don't have that option during the show today, Connor.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe don't speak so soon, Huss. There maybe a new report drops at 4:45 or something like that. But no, that's obviously the biggest story here. I mean, he won the Hart Trophy 2 seasons ago, and we're, you know, Remis brought up the graphic yesterday. The Hella Buzz, we're all over it. So that's definitely the biggest story here.
Hella Buzz, Reem. I mean, it started with one interview with the Dregs yesterday that we sort of, we got into, and when Darren Dreger is speaking about things pertaining to the Winnipeg Jets, we know where it's coming from. So I think, you know, as opposed to any of the other guys that are speculating about, maybe Hellebuyck would be open to a new spot. Greg Wyshynski, who's a great friend of the program, saying he's heard that, you know, he'd like to get south of the border like many others. And we really don't know what the job is. And to be honest, if this was a straight up trade request, credit to the Jets and the Hellebuyck camp for keeping it as quiet as possible in today's day and age. But day by day, the amount of Hellebuyck talk seems to be ramping up, Remo. And again, when it's Darren Dreger coming in, who has always been sort of the insider, if you will, that the Jets have used to float things out when they feel they need to make things public, he's been the guy. So, I mean, a lot more from Dreger. Had a lot of people in Jet circles talking yesterday.
Yeah, you know, we heard the noise last week. Elliot Friedman mentioned on his podcast, quote, noise around Hellebuyck. We heard Matt Murley on the Game Notes podcast, Empty Netters with their own unconfirmed report. But when it comes from a guy like Greg Wyshynski with ESPN and Darren Dreger saying, hey, the Jets may not be actively shopping Hellebuyck, but they're listening, referencing, you know, him being unhappy at the end of his season, media. And we'd already heard similar stuff from Dave McCarthy, SiriusXMNHL.com. But as you said, when Darren Dreger speaks about the Jets, you kind of have an idea where the information is coming from. And I guess we got to start preparing ourselves for the possibility of a trade. But as you've said on this show in the last week, they're not just going to give him away for 50 cents. We've seen them in this position before. They've come out looking pretty good. Evander Kane trade, Pierre-Luc Dubois trade more recently. So they're going to wait until there's a legitimate offer and they feel like they're getting fair value. And then, then we can judge the return. But, pretty... it's tough to see, I don't know, end of an era, possibly, with Connor Hellebuyck moving on. I mean, he's been the franchise player, MVP, 3 Vezina trophies. Did not think it would, go this way after him and Scheifele signed those twin extensions.
No, for sure. But, and listen, I also, I don't know whether we need to dig too much more in. I've kind of made my point that if the trade request has already been made and it's official, then, a lot of the stuff that Hellebuyck said at the end of last year, I'm not sure is really accurate, I guess. I mean, just sort of talking over 2 sides of the mouth. Want to see things get better and looking forward to seeing what the changes are this season. And before anything can even happen, going and doing that. I mean, listen, it is a business, and more than anything, I mean, I blame Nathan McKinnon for all of this. If he had just scored in the Olympics and Hellebuck wasn't getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom and they weren't spending 4 days on a celebration tour, and I mean, that kind of changed everything, in a lot of ways. Now, the Jets had a down season. We all know that. But I do think there's probably more to it than, I mean, there's a lot of people, if their lane is blaming it all on the general manager, then a lot of the stuff that, with, the Americans want to play in the States, want to play with each other. I mean, to me, I think there is an element of that as well. And also just seeing the way guys are doing it down in Florida, in Vegas. There's a lot of players, just like Dylan Larkin, who has those teams on their list. But the bottom line is right now that I've been saying, hey, listen, I kind of think where there's smoke, there's some fire for the last couple of weeks. We're now hearing that verbatim from some of the most important insiders in hockey, which unfortunately has, even if you're the biggest Connor Hellebuck fan, I think you need to brace yourself that there could be some big changes coming. Remo, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm not sure whether this is possible. Do we have the Drager clip from yesterday?
That we played on the show?
That we played already. I just kind of want to play that first to set this up before we get, if you have it. If not, no big deal.
It's on my computer at home. So
okay. Listen, I thought it might be on this one. Don't worry about it.
On this one. I might be able to get it, but I don't, I would need time.
Okay. No problem. Now, do we have a list of these clips from?
Yeah, there's scroll up on your sheet here.
I do not have them.
I didn't put I didn't write it down. We had an internet issue. I spent, an hour here troubleshooting. So
okay, well, do you know what the clips are?
Yeah, I'll give you the first one.
Okay.
Drager talking about the trade market. Here's why Connor Hellebuck is intriguing.
Okay, here we go. This is Drager from Barn Burner over on the Nation Network yesterday.
Okay, the most captivating for me is Connor Hellebuck.
Give me a second to set it up on the scene. Sorry.
Got you. I mean, going to right out of the gate, Connor, the needs for the Winnipeg Jets is what they're looking for. I will say, I don't know whether I'm prioritizing a number 4 center if I'm trading Connor Hellebuck, to be honest. Do I agree with the 2C? 100%. Yeah. Do I agree with the blue line and improving I would say toughness overall with the team, but they definitely want to have some guys that are bigger and tougher to play against. Yeah. If the 4C doesn't come in a deal, I'm not that worried. I would prefer a pick, some more draft capital. Yeah. But it seems like that at least is kind of what Drager was floating out there, is what it would take hypothetically to get a deal done for Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, if it's a 4C coming in the deal, it's Rasmus Kupari in the Gabe Vilardi deal. That's the level of 4C coming back. It's just kind of a throw in, maybe a younger player with a little bit of potential, but certainly the headliners of a Connor Hellebuck trade, you'd be looking at 2C. You'd be looking at maybe a high first round pick. You'd be looking at a defenseman, maybe a top 4 defenseman, or one that's on a bottom pair on a team right now, but with a bigger role can grow into a top 4 defenseman. So I thought Ken Wiebe on our show yesterday outlined it well. There are a number of different avenues the Jets can take it, but I think looking for young, proven NHL talents like an Anton Lundell that we keep bringing up from Florida would be a great place to start as a headliner of a deal.
Yeah, and listen, that is going to be sort of what the ask is going to be, and I think that's going to be the sort of package that it needs to get done. A first-round pick. Florida's got the 9th pick in the draft. Yeah, and a player like that. Now, everyone always gets so married to their own players and sometimes overvalues those players. That's not the case with Hellebuck, and I'll tell you what, it's not the case with Anton Lundell. I did see Florida Panthers fans reacting to a question, would you do this? Yeah. Listen, not surprisingly, they're pretty much a hard no. Yeah. Considering what they've done together as a group without Hellebuck. Yeah. But now, of course, with Bob now, and Bob apparently wants a 6-year deal.
I saw that.
Bub wants a 6-year deal. He's 37 or 38
Does he know
years
how old he is? He's trying to pull a Brad Marchand.
He wants the Marchand
deal. Yeah.
I think Florida's going to be a retirement home at some point with all these guys still playing on their team.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's interesting. Like if those players retire, then they're off the books, right? Contract, like with their contract. So are they just tacking on years like they do in the NHL or in the NFL, void years, and they'll retire and it won't matter? But certainly an interesting team building strategy. I don't know if Bob's going to get that 6-year deal.
Now, okay, this is more from Drager.
They couldn't hear the first clip.
Oh, they couldn't hear it at all.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Can they hear it now?
Yeah, it's good to go now.
Okay. All right. I wasn't aware of that. This is the first clip we were planning on playing. This is Dregs talking about why Hellebuyck is intriguing and what a deal might look like.
Okay, the most captivating for me is Connor Hellebuyck. And when you look at the Winnipeg Jets, they need a number 2 center. They need a number 4 center. They need bigger and more aggressive defense. You know, tougher guys, physical guys that aren't easy to play against.
They just got rid of Logan Stanley.
I know. Yeah.
I don't think he could play high enough in a full lineup, but he is
maybe. Yeah. And I mean, if you're willing to consider Hellebuyck, and they are, let's just be fair in this. Winnipeg is willing to consider moving Connor Hellebuyck. And if they are, then you've got to tick off at least a couple of the boxes that I just described, preferably a number 2 center. And maybe you get a defenseman on top of that, and you worry about the 4C down the path, because there's always going to be that player potentially available in free agency or a trade. But you move Hellebuyck, okay, what are you doing in goal now? Right. You know, and then that gets a little slippery for the Winnipeg Jets.
Now, I'll say this. When Drager says that, you know, with this is not, we're listening, which is what we heard yesterday, which is kind of why I wanted to play that other clip first. Mm-hmm. He said, well, you know, the Jets, if someone's calling, they'll listen. Well, no kidding.
Yeah.
When they say they will consider, like it is right out of his mouth, they will consider trading Connor Hellebuyck. It's on, and most likely, if you're a big Hellebuyck fan, you don't want to hear this, plug your ears, it's most likely going to happen. Now, I still have doubts, as I've been saying all week long, that this gets done very quickly, because I think depending on the number of teams he's willing to go to, how many of those teams are willing to pay the price that Kevin Cheveldayoff is going to ask. And I'll say this, I know Chevy's taken a lot of heat. Justifiably, for the last year, it has not gone well after, you know, at building a team that won a President's Trophy. I will say this, regardless of your thoughts of the job that Cheveldayoff has done in the last year, a situation like this is when you want Kevin Cheveldayoff as your general manager.
I think so, yeah.
Because, I mean, listen, you base it on the situations that he's had to deal with before. Evander Kane, certainly Pierre-Luc Dubois. Those have been huge wins. He has had actually some of his best moments as a GM during his tenure when he has been backed into a corner and everyone thought that the team was screwed and they came out looking a lot better. And I mean, if they're going to make a move, he's got to do that at this time.
Yes, absolutely. And look, if Connor Hellebuyck requests a trade and he has a full no move, right? Like, this is when you want Kevin Cheveldayoff, I think. And yes, the past year, the past 12 months, the past 18 months even haven't been great from Kevin Cheveldayoff. And we've talked about that on the show, but he's done well when backed into a corner. So I'd be fascinated to see how he would do in this situation. And when it comes to Connor Hellebuyck, I was firmly in the camp, Huss, and I think you were kind of here too, that the end of season press conference happened. He was disappointed, as any athlete should be. And to me, it was more, okay, maybe next summer, after another bad year, this would happen. But this Drager clip on Barn Burner has completely changed my mind, where yesterday on Insider Trading, or whatever TSN show it was, that he said, yeah, when teams are calling, they're listening. That's not the same as they are willing to consider trading Connor Hellebuyck.
Exactly.
Like, when they're calling, they're listening. Yeah, they can listen to any trade. Yeah, we'll listen and decline. But if they're actually considering it, that is different. So we'll see if this ends up happening, and if it does, what kind of return can Cheveldayoff get? Because, as you pointed out, he usually does pretty well when backed into a corner.
By the way, huge thanks to Stan Scott with a really nice super chat. Stan says, you guys are still the best sports show around. Totally worth supporting. Stan, It's people like you that make the show happen each and every day. We really appreciate that. That's nice. Another chat is Turd Ferguson. This will be done by next Friday, Huss. This will be done by next Friday, Huss. They've been working on these trades for weeks. Dude, it's done when it's done. And unless you have some sort of intel as to what is being offered the Winnipeg Jets, there is nobody that can confirm that. And I haven't heard anything about an offer. I mean, listen, we were just getting to the point where they're willing to consider trading him.
Yeah.
Like they're not just going to trade for whatever the best offer is by Friday. If it's not good enough, they're not doing it. I mean, I don't know how anyone can try to convince me otherwise that they will take a lesser package just to get it over with. That would be the worst possible thing that they could do. And Cheveldayoff has never operated that way. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it won't get done by Friday, but if it does, it's because they get the offer that they want. And the best thing, Reem, that could happen right now, and it was interesting hearing Wyshynski mention Buffalo and New Jersey, is to have some other teams in the mix, because the time that it's the most difficult is if a guy with the no move says, I only want to go to one team. Hello, Pierre-Luc Dubois. And if that team realizes that, well, hey, he only wants to go to us, we're not willing to give you what you want, it makes it very difficult to get done. And sometimes it takes a lot longer. And newsflash, he's got 5 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a gun to their head to do this, even if they now realize that it is the time, to move on and now focusing on what this could do for the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to hang tight. We've got a couple more clips from Barn Burner, which we will get to in a minute from Drager. We do have a guest, though, that's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. So let me remind you all to get your tickets for the Tri Hospital Dream Lottery right now. Gang, go to tryhospitaldream.com. Next Thursday is the deadline at midnight. The grand prize draw all in support of the HSC, the St. Boniface Hospital, the HSC Children's Hospital, is one of 5 Dream Home packages worth $1.7 million or $1.35 million cash. You can also get in on the incredible 50-50 draw, which is the take-home prize is over $600,000 now, and another $170,000 worth in prizes in the Extra Cash Plus. And it is all in support of our hospitals that do so much in our community. What you're going to want to do, oh, wow, Rory McIlroy's up at 3 under par. Holy smokes, nice work. Get your tickets today, tryhospitaldream.com. You can also pop into your local London Drugs or Red River Co-op location to grab those. Hey, folks, if you need plumbing services in Winnipeg, only one place to call, and that is Clean Line. Of course, they are great, proud sponsors of the Winnipeg Jets and Winnipeg Sports Talk. They've been the leaders in residential and commercial plumbing for over 40 years and have incredible 24-hour service available when you need it. 204-500-2001 is the number to remember for Clean Line. And you can also check them out online at cleanline.ca to make an appointment. Our friends at Manitoba Battery are ready for next week's Bomber game. Manitoba Battery powering the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year, and certainly powering a lot of WST listeners with the best prices in batteries for literally everything. Many of you are needing a battery for an ATV, a dirt bike, a boat, your RV right now, a golf cart. If you need a battery for something, Manitoba Battery has it, and Manitoba Battery has it at the best price in town, beating the pants off the big box stores with the best in customer service as well. Pop by and see them. 2 locations now in Winnipeg, Logan Avenue, Dover Court Drive. You can also order online at manitobabattery.com, and they can deliver it to you anywhere inside the perimeter of Winnipeg. And hey, I got to shout out, I saw my pal Ryan from Rollies out watching the England game after the show yesterday. They're all fired up for World Cup and fired up for summer. Very busy right now because Rollies Transfer, of course, is the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba and have been for over 60 years. If you are on the move coming up, head on over to rollies.com. Click on Request an Estimate, top right corner. Let them know. First of all, put in the promo code WST for a special discount for moving services and moving supplies. And they'll get back to you right away with a great quote, get you locked into the white glove treatment that has made them the most trusted name in the game now into their 7th decade. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies Transfer. Find out more. Request an estimate today over at Rollies.com. All right, we will get back to the Darren Dreger stuff in a minute, but there's also a draft next week. Who knows? Maybe there's a high draft pick coming in some sort of a Hellebuck deal. Let's bring in Jerome Berube from hockeyprospect.com. You can check him out on X at Scouting Service. Jerome, what's up? Thanks for doing this. How are you? Jerome, can you hear me?
Oh, one sec.
All right, we got the. Hold on one sec, Jerome.
Okay, now he's good.
Hey, Jerome, what's going on? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing well. Everyone's freaking out about a possible Hellebuck trade and what that might cost the Winnipeg, or what they might bring back to the Winnipeg Jets. I will say this, there's some excitement that maybe there could be another first-round pick coming up in addition to the Jets picking at 8 overall right now. Let me ask you this. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about what's in and around the 8 spot. How would you characterize the strength of this draft, and at what point does the kind of group of top grade A prospects end in the first round, in your opinion?
Well, so in our book, we have 19A rated prospect, which is what we consider like real first round quality prospect. Obviously, they're not all the same quality. So the top 10 group, if you need a defenseman, you have a good chance of getting a defenseman at 8 if that's what you want to go with. There's a lot. I think we have 5 defensemen pretty much in the same group here. So if that's what the Jets wants to do, they have quite a few options here to go with a D-man at 8.
Now, the consensus has sort of been McKenna, Stenberg right at the top. Caleb Malhotra has been that number 1 center. You've got those 5 defensemen, as you mentioned. The Jets will get one of those 8 players. But I have to ask you about Viggo Bjork, because he's a guy that has seemed to really catch steam throughout the year, even more so at the World Championships. And I'm seeing plenty of mocks that have Viggo Bjork going before the Jets even get called up to the podium. Tell us a little bit about this player, your thoughts on him, and where you see him potentially going based on everything we know right now, a week before the draft.
Okay, well, we did release our book, did release our list, and Viggo Bjork is our number 1 ranked player. Just so
number 1.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys obviously really like him.
Yeah, we huge fan of Viggo Bjork. He's, there's no flaw with this player except if you look at he's 5'9", but everything else, he's an elite defensive player, very high-end offensive player. He's not as flashy as McKenna or Stenberg, but he is a high-end player, and it depends what you value in hockey. If someone values like points, I get it. McKenna will have a lot of points in the NHL. Same goes for Stenberg, but Bjork will have his fair share of points, but his two-way game is going to be an elite for us. So, and he's younger than Stenberg. He's younger than McKenna. He's a center. He has proven that he can be a center in a real good league in the ASHL. And he has improved a lot this year. If you watch him first half versus second half, big time improvement for him. So, and there's a lot of runway also to go with that. You want to see him keep improving. You look at Stenberg. Stenberg is the most ready prospect for the NHL. Is Bjork ready? Maybe. But he will continue to improve. I don't know how much better Stenberg is going to get. So he's, we use that phrase, what you see is what you get. So we think Bjork can continue to really get better in the next year or two. But he's the most complete center in the draft for us.
I was going to say, you must be as high on him as anyone. You can't get any higher on a player than the number 1 ranked player. There's a lot of folks that maybe didn't see him at the World Championships and haven't seen him at all before that. is there a comparable? I mean, when you think about Bjork and what he could turn into, like what's the ceiling for Vigo Bjork as an NHLer right now that might be that fans might be familiar with?
Yeah, well, player comp are always something a bit too extreme. So, you watch him, you definitely know who is it. It's so easy to see who did he model his game at. It's Sidney Crosby. I'm not saying he's the next Sidney Crosby, but just the way he plays, the details in his game, his size, the way he's built. Like there's a lot of good report about how much he likes to go to. Like he works hard in the gym. Like he's 5'9", but he's a strong 5'9". He has, won puck battles against much older players than him this year in ASHL. Like he's a bit of a Stankoven in terms of like mindset. He competes really hard. There's some Nick Suzuki in his game too. As far as like two-way game, they just retired his jersey today in Boston, but there's some Patrice Bergeron in his game, mostly defensively. So yeah, you're looking at a very complete two-way center that will be. He's the type of guy that will make team win some big game in the playoff, in my opinion.
Jerome Berube is with us from hockeyprospect.com. You can follow him on X at Scouting Service. You mentioned that group of 5 defensemen. Some people have Carrolls at the top. Some people have Reed. Of that 5, how have you sort of delineated them? And is there a big difference from 1 to 5?
Well, Carrolls is my number 1. And I think he's pretty on his own group here at 1. And then after that, I think Verhoff, Reed, or it's very close, the two of them. I think Reed is better now, but I think there's a chance that Verhoff could surpass him in the next few years with more development. Both are really good. It was a bit of a tough one for us this year with Verhoff playing college at 17. He might have not been fully ready for it, so he had a lot of mistakes in his game. So probably mistake he would have not made in junior, or they would have probably be less visible than in college. But there's a lot of, as I mentioned with Bjork, there's a lot of runway with Verhoff coming up. So there's a chance that he might might get really much improve in the next few years. After them, we have Malte Gustafsson, who's a Swedish defenseman. You have Daxon Rudolph from Prince Albert, and Albert Smits from Latvia. So that's the group of defensemen here.
Interesting, and I think this is in a lot of ways. I'm sure you talk to a number of your colleagues. Everyone's talking about different guys. Would you say that there is more? I mean, we've got the general list of the top 10, but more differing opinions about who the top guys in the order is than we've had in recent years?
Yeah, I just think it's that kind of draft. That's not really a good draft. Obviously, if you're drafting top 10, usually you will end up with a good player. But yeah, I think it's funny. Like in the media, like all the rankings kind of look like the same. And then if you ask NHL teams, their lists are very different from team to team, right? So I just think people need to get used to it. That not everyone will have the same opinion on every player. So it's just part of scouting. Everyone values different things. Like I mentioned, we have Bjork at 1. Some people think we're crazy. We don't project him to go number 1. He might be there at 8, but we think in the future he's going to be there at. He's going to be a premier player from this class.
Jerome, I'm just imagining a world where Vigo is there at 8, the Jets pick him, and this clip of you on WST becomes a legendary moment when we found out that you guys had him number 1, they got him, and then he turns into a star for the Winnipeg Jets. And we always remember Jerome Berube's first visit with us here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Thoughts on McKenna, who everyone expects to go number 1 to the Leafs. Is he right behind Vigo right now? Some people have Stenberg ahead. I mean, just those top forwards, and maybe include Malhotra as well. I mean, for your particular list, after Bjork at number 1, how close are those forwards to the top of the draft, or some of the defensemen ahead of them?
So, we have McKenna number 3. It was not an easy, season for him. I think the first half he really struggled with what college hockey was all about, more physical, faster. It got a bit better in the second half, but I think if you look at what he can bring to the table, like you draft him, your power play is going to get better right away. He's going to be a dynamic player on your power play. We were trying to predict how many points can he get on the power play in one season, and we were actually looking at what the McDavid and Draisaitl were doing on the power play with the others, and we're you could get 70 points on the power play in 1 year, depending of who he plays with. So he is the best upside of any player in this class. We just think he's the other part of his game are a bit lacking. His play away from the puck, his physicality, the effort level at times is missing. So all of that combined, we just decided to go with Bjork and Malhotra at 1 and 2, just because. I mean, you guys in Winnipeg, you're in Winnipeg. I feel like every half of the team in the NHL are looking for center. So. Really good value.
Yes, you know it well. That has been a nonstop conversation on this program for many years. Need more centers. Need a number 2C. You want to get that guy. Real quick before we go, thoughts on the Ruck twins? So intriguing, such unique. I mean, they're mirror twins. One's a righty, one's a lefty. They absolutely tore up the league in a season where they thought the team would take a big step back. Do you put it this way? What's it going to take for a team to get both of them? When do you think that they will go as far as the first round? Are they both first rounders? Is one a first rounder? Will you need to use a high second round pick to get it? I mean, I think they want to end up in a place. I think teams will probably know that. How do you see that shaking out, and where will the first one come off the board?
Well, that's the $1 million question, I guess, because it's really hard to predict where they're going to go. We have them back to back, but it's really hard to predict where they could go. I'm assuming the team that will take the first one will do whatever is necessary to get the second one. So you have to look at teams that have multiple first rounder or early second rounder as early second round pick. So they're very tricky. They're so good. At the same time, they're a bit scary for the NHL because of their skating, but they're so smart. We like Marcus better than Liam because we think he's an elite playmaker. The hockey sense is elite. Liam is very smart also, and he is the shooter of the two. So it's a great combination of you have Marcus, who's the playmaker, and then you have Liam, who's the shooter. It's a great combination, but they have a lot of work ahead of themselves. The skating will need to get better. They need to get really stronger. I think Marcus was at the combine 164 pounds. So there's a lot of work in the gym that needs to be done in the next few years. But sometimes you just have to, go with skill, go with hockey sense, and those two have it.
Jerome, great having you on the program. Final one for you. I always love when we talk to draft experts and scouts. Everybody has their guy. Who's your guy? A guy that you maybe, Bjork might be that guy because you have him number 1. But outside of that top 10, is there a player that you think has been really undervalued or underrated based on what you've seen across the industry and what you've heard?
I would go with Russian forward Gleb Pugachev. We have him 11. He's not really ranked. I didn't see many rankings that have him that high, or even in the first round. He's a big power forward out of Russia. He is, if you watch the Stanley Cup playoff, you watch Ivan Barbashev play. They play a very similar style, except at the same age, Pugachev is better and he's bigger and he skates better. But he's there's some Tom Wilson in this game too. Like he will, on a forecheck, the NHL defenseman will not like playing against him. He just he can just really, he will be he's the most physical forward in the draft, and a team that values that will be all over him. I think, because he's a beast.
Jerome, listen, we really appreciate you jumping on with us today. Again, you can follow him on X at Scouting Service. Just let people know, for people that want the crash course in the class of 2026, what do you guys have cooking over at hockeyprospect.com?
So we got our book, who's out since a few days, the NHL Draft Breakdown. So just go on hockeyprospect.com. The homepage will you'll see how to get it. And we're also doing some YouTube stuff on our YouTube channel leading to the draft. And we also have a live draft show on not this Friday, but the Friday of the draft. So that's how people can see what we do.
Hey, appreciate it. All the best to you. And fingers crossed again that this will be a legendary clip. Vigo Bjork will be a Jet, and we'll say our guy Jerome had him number one. Let's go. Have a good one. Enjoy the soccer game today.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. There is Jerome Berube. Great to have him on the program. All right. Rewucki's going to come up in about 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to get back to those Drager clips because there is more on Hellebuyck. But, guys, we do have a little bit of breaking news. Do you have that release? Winnipeg Jets have just thrown something out for a big press conference tomorrow.
Yeah. So Jonathan Toews, the Winnipeg Jets announced that there's going to be a closed media event or kind of a press conference tomorrow at the Jonathan Toews Sportsplex at 11 a.m. So
tomorrow, eh? What day is tomorrow?
June 19th.
Oh,
yes,
interesting.
19th.
Interesting. And it's at Jonathan Toews Community Center.
Yes. Yes. So
they're building a new rink or
signing a 5-year extension for Jonathan Toews? No, we don't want to steal his moment, of course, but all signs point to him potentially retiring tomorrow. So we will wait and see what that is all about tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Toews said afterwards that, he's going to take a couple weeks to think about it and let him know. It's obviously been a lot more than 2 weeks since the end. I mean, we kind of broke it down afterwards. I was pretty thinking that even in the playoffs that this was probably going to be the end result. And, if it is, I think we'll remember. Obviously, the season overall wasn't what anyone wanted to be. But very, very cool to have the greatest NHL player ever from Winnipeg finish his career with the Winnipeg Jets. And I'll be very interested to know what Toews, assuming that is the announcement tomorrow, what his next step is, in life, whether he stays in hockey, whether he does some completely different things. But we'll be all over that tomorrow when the presser happens, and presumably we'll be on the air right after it. So we'll have all those details for you on the show tomorrow. But let's get back to, thanks again to Jerome for jumping on. Let's get back to this Drager stuff from yesterday on Barnburger. And this is another one that I think is a real tell, coming from Darren Drager with his connection to the Jets front office when he speaks and what he gets out there. This is a piece just talking what the Jets need to upgrade, and also talks Cheveldayoff's extension. When was that? As well as just the general loyalty of the Winnipeg Jets.
When you look at the assets that the Winnipeg Jets have, what are you willing to part with, or that you need to part with to acquire a number 2 center? And the tricky part is the same challenge that Cheveldayoff has faced for years and years and years. And it'll be the same if Cheveldayoff is let go tomorrow, which isn't going to happen. He's in early days of a contract extension. Like, I can't think of another team where there would be players like Winnipeg is the team that most players who have trade protection have on their no trade list. Mm-hmm. It's Winnipeg. There are other teams, Canadian teams primarily, but Winnipeg is right near the top of that food chain. So what are you using for collateral or bait to acquire a number 2 center that doesn't have trade protection, right? You don't just find those players. So then you get into the younger pieces, Salamanson, Perfetti. I mean, Cole Perfetti's a restricted free agent. They're talking, but they're not close on a deal. And then you have to go into the realm of Connor Hellebuyck because of what he said. And I would say this about the Winnipeg Jets. I know that ownership group very well. They're as loyal to their people as I can't think of another owner in the National Hockey League. And there are many good ones, if not great ones. There's more loyal to their staff, their players, their organization, people in general than Mark Chipman. All right. But that cuts both ways. If you're unhappy and maybe you don't want to be there, okay. All right. We'll figure it out. So Winnipeg is definitely high on our radar to watch.
All right. Lots to chew on from that one. But it was the last 15 seconds that did it for me. And I mean, this is true. I mean, we know that this is a very loyal organization that believes in continuity, believes in hiring good people, giving them the resources to succeed, and letting them do their jobs. But that quote at the end about, but if you don't want to be here, okay, we'll see what we can do. That was the moment to me, Connor, that there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is happening. And when it will happen, as I've been maintaining, it's going to happen when the Jets get the right deal. But I think everybody has to wrap their heads around the fact that this isn't just a bunch of people online talking about something because there's nothing going on in the hockey world. This is not just a little bit of smoke. This is not just a bit of fire. If that's coming from the organization and he's referencing Mark Chipman and how they handle things like that, that tells me that this is all systems go.
He said it. He said it himself. He knows the organization, like the higher ups, very well. He said it in that statement, and he does. That's why he's first to Jets news nationally usually, and always has these scoops and is speaking from a place of knowing what that organizational group is thinking. So, it's really interesting. Darren Dreger, the Perfetti,
they've been very loyal to Dreger.
Yeah, they have. They're very loyal to everyone.
Dreger
included. Correct.
He's their guy.
Correct. So I found the Perfetti stuff interesting as well. Obviously, we're Hellebuyck all the time, but and rightfully so. You want a Hart Trophy. But that's another storyline this offseason. Cole Perfetti's an RFA. Do they look to move on from him? He's had some up and down seasons the past 2 years. Obviously, scored the Manitoba Miracle goal, but then has the high ankle sprain and misses the first quarter of the season, isn't himself for the first half. That contract, I think, is going to be a tough negotiation regardless. And do they just think, maybe a change is better here, or do they eventually resolve something and do find out a contract with Cole Perfetti? So that's an underrated storyline, but obviously the Hellebuyck stuff, very intriguing too, and I agree with you on that.
Reem?
Yeah, I think the standout parts of that quote were one, Cheveldayoff in the early stages of an extension.
That too.
And I know Dave Minuk, picked up on that quote and put it out as a headline on LegalCurve.com. The last time we heard about a Cheveldayoff extension was in 2022, May 2022. Ken Wiebe just sneakily tucked it into a column when he was writing at the time.
It's like 3/4 of the way through. Oh, really?
Wasn't really breaking news. So that was a 3-year deal. That would have been 2025. So it would have expired last season. And, there was no announcement, but I assume that he did get an extension because, he was still the GM after his contract had expired. So, I don't know if that was huge news. Darren Dreger dropping that in the thing, in the segment there with Barnburner.
I'll be honest, I didn't even blink when I heard that. I mean, we knew before the term it was the 3 years. We knew he was still on the job last year. They had just won the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
Of course he had an extension. Now, we don't know how long that is, or
and we should clarify
I don't know if it really
too.
matters, to be honest with you.
We should clarify too, because a lot of what I'm seeing online, people are posting about it, people are tweeting about it. They're misinterpreting it on that Cheveldayoff is in the early talks of getting a new contract extension, but that's not what Dreger said. He's saying he's in the early days of a contract extension that has already happened.
Are you telling me there's people online with poor listening skills and reading comprehension?
Yeah, believe it or not, actually,
that could not be possible.
The extension has already happened.
But yeah, I mean, to me, in all of this, I mean, the clip that resonates the most is what we heard at the end of that last one when he mentioned going right up to the top, because I'm telling you right now, Mark Chipman is the leader of this organization. He's very much, I think, involved in a lot of the things that happen with the hockey club. And when you were talking about, and I would imagine this would be the same in most markets, to be honest, maybe not to the extent on a day-to-day basis, but if you're talking about trading a guy that is your franchise player, with the accolades that he's brought the team, I don't know if there's many GMs that are just going to do that and then call their owner and go, oh, yeah, by the way, we just traded Connor Hellebuyck. Yeah. So that, I mean, listen, if anyone needed convincing, that to me is the quote that you got it. Now, there's one other bit. This was from, I believe, Rhett Warner, who's on the show. He asked and kind of brought up coaching, cited the Leafs and Oilers seasons and what happened there, and basically asked if coaching is an issue. Here's what Dreger had to say on that.
I've heard coaching is an issue. I'm just going to say it. Is there something to it?
Well, I don't know that because I'm not in the room. I guess what I would say is when I watch their star players, and I think of Scheifele and I think of Kyle Connor, I mean, those guys are so offensively gifted, right? That I can appreciate that at times you just want to let the horses run a little bit. But I don't think that Rick Bowness allowed those guys to do that. You know, I think that he was more demanding of defensive detail. Like, we need you guys to be as responsible as you possibly can be. Look, you'll have time in the offensive zone to, Babcock used to call it the fun zone, to do what you're going to do and all of that. But we need you to be able to defend. And, when I watch this team, and I isolate those two guys because they're the head of the snake. In a good way, not a bad way, right? You shut down Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, and most often than not, you're probably going to find a way to beat the Winnipeg Jets. And that happened more often than not, I think, last year. And that put added pressure on that blue line, and then at times put more pressure on Connor Hellebuyck in the goaltending. So maybe I'm answering your question that way, Rhett, without knowing whether or not the players feel like Scott Arniel is an issue. I don't think management thinks it's a coaching issue.
Yeah, well, that's fine for management.
Yeah, that was a very weird response. Yeah. I was asked about coaching and then didn't really say much about the coaching at all, just sort of what happened last year. I mean, listen, I think the key of what you want to take from all of the first minute or whatever he said about what happened last year was that management doesn't feel that coaching is an issue. We all know Arniel's back this year. I will say this, though, Raymond. I've mentioned this before. We can talk about the loyalty and all of that. This is the most crucial start for a season for the Winnipeg Jets. And, we can talk hot seats and that sort of thing. I do think it is imperative on this team to get off to a good start. Now, listen, this could change considering potential player moves. I mean, if a bunch of the top guys are Winnipeg Jets, then I think we're talking about a different story. Mm-hmm. But if the majority of this group is back, the pressure is going to be on Scott Arniel to come out of the gate with a good start. Because, I mean, if you get out 5-12 and you're staring at another lost season, I'm not sure this organization can afford to go through that again unless they are all in for a non-playoff year. But that doesn't seem to be. We've never heard anything from this organization that would possibly suggest that they would be thinking about being bad for a couple of years and trying to rebuild that way.
Yeah, interesting comments there from Rhett Warner saying he's hearing coaching is a problem. And then at the end of the clip, I did cut it off, but he as you talked about,
talking to Mike Commodore, he isn't counting.
I don't know. He said he heard. He said he heard coaches is a problem, and then he mentioned Toronto, Edmonton, making changes there. And I think you do look at teams around the league that had really disappointing seasons, and you saw changes made. We mentioned Toronto changing the GM, Edmonton changing the coach, LA, Nashville changed the GM, Seattle changed the GM and said they were doing some kind of external review of their operations. So the Winnipeg Jets are going with the status quo, and I think pressure's on Scott Arniel, but I think a lot of pressure's on Kevin Cheveldayoff. They brought in players the last couple seasons, going back to the trade deadline, that really didn't make an impact. Their second line really took a nosedive after they lost Nikolai Ehlers. How are they going to fix that? How are they going to get secondary scoring? You have that top line, Velarde, Scheifele, Connor, certainly capable of scoring, but they weren't getting a ton. I know Connor mentioned Cole Perfetti's RFA status and what Dreger said, early talks there, but really no progress. I am curious what's going to happen there with Cole Perfetti and his upcoming deal. So I do think the pressure's on the entire organization has to have a better season than last year because, well, first of all, that's not going to be tough to do because it was absolutely miserable. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this draft goes in the next couple of weeks, as we've seen a lot of chatter online just about the state of the Winnipeg Jets, and it's none of it's positive.
No, well, I mean, listen, they went from being the best team in the regular season last year to, we're picking 8th. The team's picking 8th in the draft, and there's no way to sugarcoat that. Now, there are a number of issues that went into that, but I don't think that changes the pressure on the coach for better results, and whether, I mean, I think they'll find out whether that's possible early on in this season with the new group. And then obviously, I mean, I think Chevy is locked in as the guy that is going to be the steward of this team. But that doesn't change the fact that, the pressure on him is, what are you going to do with the rest of this roster if this Hellebuyck thing happens?
I will just quickly say on Arneal too, every time we are on the show and we're saying something like, he's going to be back or he's going to be the coach heading into next season, I get a little bit more shocked. Like, whether you think last year was more of a team roster issue or a coach issue, that's I think a totally different question. But Alyssa's sitting right here. The amount of times we texted last year, like, is this the game where he gets fired? Is this the game where he gets fired? Oh, is it end of season where he gets fired? Well,
you
no.
guys new here? Like,
they lost 11 straight games.
15 years.
Yes,
there's been one coach fired.
You were
probably in grade 2. I was at the game. I was at the game against Columbus, sitting with Joel Marcoux, and Marcoux goes, "Yep, this is it. This is the night." And then it was a Sunday morning where we got the news. But I mean, other than that, think about the end of the Maurice.
So the coach has to quit?
Think about
again?
Well, that's what happened.
Okay.
I'm just saying, going from a season where you were the best in the league with the adversity that they had early on, I mean, there is I'm not saying that some people wouldn't do it or you can't make the argument to do it. I'm just saying let's live in reality with the organization, the team that we're doing it. And it would need to get way worse for that to happen. But I will say this, I think that they went through it last year and they realized where they were at. They made the deals at the deadline and sort of accepted what had happened this season. But I think there'll be a heck of a lot more on the shoulders of him coming in, knowing what's at stake this year. And I don't rule it out for next season, but
the expectations might be lower next year. Like if they trade Hellebuyck, is there as much pressure?
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, depending on what happens, that could rejig it. But they had a magical season coming out of Bones. They had a terrible season. I think they feel like he has the opportunity and
prove himself.
This is probably the last year of his deal too. So I would imagine it would have been a bit of a 3-year deal. Brandon, good to go?
He's good to go.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna bring Rewucki in here, and we'll get his thoughts on all of this. Hey, listen, just before Brandon steps in, of course, want to thank our friends at Princess Auto for their support. They got a big thing going on Sunday afternoon out at 515 Panet Road. I know a couple of the Bomber alumni are going to be there signing some autographs. I know Evan Holm and one of the other members of the Bombers are going to be there, I believe, from 4 to 5. And of course, it's all around the area of the brand new flagship location for Princess Auto. If you haven't been there yet, go there and come hungry. They got a great restaurant. Come Thursday, you can get a cold beer, a pop. They got free ice cream for the kids, and it is the most impressive retail outlet, regardless of industry, that I think this city has ever seen. Basically safe to say that. So get out there if you haven't already to check it out. But Sunday afternoon, lots going on. Bring the family, especially you Bomber fans, out at Princess Auto, and we'll see you all at Princess Auto Stadium next Thursday for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Edmonton Elks. Got to shout out our friends at Chud's Power Sports up in Gimli. We're getting into the good part of the year, folks. Next couple months, you want to be on your motorbike, motorcycle, dirt bike, boat, get out of the city and in your RV. Chud's Power Sports has them all. The best in new and used vehicles, of all kinds when it comes to power sports. That's why they've been the power sports superstore for over 80 years. Pop up and see the Terminator and the great people at Chud's at the corner of Highway 8 and 231 in Gimli. While you're there, as we went out there a month or so ago, highly recommend going to that Carlos Cucina for maybe the best burger I've had in Manitoba. But I digress. Incredible financing packages on both new and used vehicles. Get ready for summer and get ready to dominate with Chud's. They've also got the Kobe event on Saturday. If you want to try the Kobe motorcycles, they'll be out there. You can ride it, feel it yourself. That is Saturday from noon to 5 at Chud's up in Gimli. All right. Shout out, by the way, Terry, the gang at St. Vital Dental Center. Good thing it's a 5 o'clock game, because I think if the game was earlier, it might be tough to get an appointment. Terry, big soccer guy, saw him and his daughter at the Desiree Scott retirement match. But if you have dental needs in the city, St. Vital Dental Center has been serving generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans, and they'll do it for clients from 6 months to 99 plus with a full array of dental services, from cleanings and checkups to things like dental implants. They do it all in a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's Road, with convenient free parking right behind the building. So for all your dental needs for you and your family, St. Vital Dental Center is the spot. Pop by there, make an appointment online at stvitaldental.ca. Make sure to say hi to Doc Terry from the boys at WST. All right, let's bring in Brandon Rewucki. We got the red on. He's in a salmon shirt, maybe pink, but close enough. Rue, what's going on? Are you ready for this game tonight at 5 or what?
Oh, I feel a little bit embarrassed right now and unpatriotic that I couldn't find a darker red shade of red, but I'm ready to go, baby. It's got to be a quick start for the boys. If they can get up early against Qatar. I haven't been able to check just yet today what Davies' status is like, but
he's available. Like they announced it yesterday. He's available, and I think the best case scenario is that he doesn't play today. Like we go out. He doesn't start. We have a monster performance in the second half, get up by a couple goals, keep it going. Like I think the plan all along has been Switzerland. If you don't have to use him today, great. But the bottom line is we got to win, and hopefully win by a margin to give us a better chance of winning the group and staying at home in Vancouver for the round of 32 and the round of 16. Listen, if we have time, we'll get back to a little more of the soccer. But I'm not sure if you heard earlier, we were playing the clips of Dreger from Barn Burner yesterday. I mean, the TSN That's Hockey is like, okay, well, if someone phones, we'll listen. Makes sense. These comments on the Barn Burner were far more. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets are open to considering trading Connor Hellebuck. And then for me, the money shot we just played was talking about Mark Chipman and the way the organization is run and how loyal they are. But if you don't want to be here, in as many words, well, we probably don't want you to be here either. And at that moment, I thought, okay, this is happening. Where are you at on all this?
That was a crazy quote. Like almost like a jilted, relationship between an ex where like it just goes, it was all hunky dory before, and then it does a complete 180 right near the end. I mean, I wonder sometimes too, if maybe just like a bit of time off would help, where it's like, let's lessen the temperature a little bit. If we're going to be talking about, you're upset about the direction of the team. Well, thanks, but no thanks. We'll move on without you. But there's also not the benefit of time right now, because ultimately they do need to make a decision really in the next, 8 days roughly. So I think we've seen enough.
Just to say on your point on that, yeah, if it's like, I'm concerned with the direction of the team and we need to get some good things happening. Like what we just heard from Dreger leaves absolutely no doubt to me that there has been a trade request made before any of these moves that he said wanted to be made have been made. I mean, that and that's just my opinion. I have no other, but I think there's a lot of reason to believe that would be the response. Like that, to your point, that isn't like, hey, we sucked this year. This wasn't good enough. We need to be better. I wanted to be on a cup contending team. To now, we're open to considering trading him. Like, there's a hell of a lot more that's happened behind the scenes from what we heard from Connor Hellebuck to today, if Drager's going on shows saying things like that.
Yeah, and that's fair. And there's been enough smoke going around here that I think fans can kind of read between the lines at what's taking place. But I mean, the other side is just because a player makes a trade request doesn't mean you have to trade him. Dylan Larkin, I think, has found that part out pretty quickly. For the chat, yes, it is an awful hair day, so the lid is on. We'll reassess going into the weekend. But that's part of where I'm talking about, like, you don't want it to get super messy like this. And I think Darren Drager is pretty tuned in to the Winnipeg management side of things.
Oh, you don't say.
So I think what he says holds a lot of weight. But at the same time, again, just because a player makes a request doesn't mean it needs to be acquiesced to immediately. Like, the team needs to take care of themselves, and I think they'll do so. And I don't think it's going to get to the point, like, if the trade isn't made, that we're talking holdout. We're talking 24/7 drama. I don't even know if it'll necessarily reach like the Quinn Hughes level of disarray that we saw in Vancouver at times this year. But I think the ultimate reality is whatever side of the metric you fall on, is that Connor Hellebuyck, 80% likely chance that he's moved within the next 10 days, which is a pretty remarkable thing to think of, regardless of how it got to this point.
Yeah, here, let me just remind everyone, hey, this segment is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers and the Toyota Tacoma, with the standard iForce engine boasting an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. It's the most powerful Tacoma ever. So whether you're hauling gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you can tackle it with ease. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days on now, and check out that beautiful Toyota Tacoma. I am with you that he's on a 5-year deal. And we know Cheveldayoff, and I was saying this to the guys earlier, but for all the people that are all over Chevy for the moves that were and weren't made, and obviously we don't know what's possible and what they're dealing with, but that's just part of the job. You got to deal with it. The one thing I'll say is you look at his 15-year career, what's he done better than maybe anyone in the league? It's get boxed into a corner in a tough situation and turn around. And this is the thing. This isn't Dubois with 1 year left on his deal. This is Hellebuyck with 5. So to your point, I'm sure they would, if they're now of the mindset that, yes, this is probably going to happen and we're open to it, figuring out and getting it done. But anyone that thinks that, there's a deadline of next Friday and whatever the best offer is, they're going to take it, I think is living in a different reality than Cheveldayoff has been for a long time.
Yeah. Like, I think if a trade happens within the next several months, it's going to take place within the next week. But I kind of equate this to the Quinn Hughes situation. It's not a perfect comparable, like you said, because Hughes, I think, had 2 years left. Ironically, the same amount of time Josh Morrissey has left on his deal. But I can certainly see a situation where Chevy's patient. He has a price. If you want to meet it, great. If not, we'll hold on to him. And there's no reason it can't be addressed midway through next season, at the trade deadline, potentially at the draft, right? So and I think Detroit's doing the same thing with Dylan Larkin right now, although that one might be a little bit frostier in that, we saw Vancouver, who's made a lot of so questionable moves over the past several years, hold on to what we can now say was a disgruntled Quinn Hughes, and people felt like they had to move him. And they held out, and they ended up getting a pretty damn good price for a guy that was pretty much irreplaceable to them. So I think that's pretty much the template to follow if you're a GM of an American player who wants out of your team. It's just going to be, is your price met in the next couple of days, or is your price met months down the line?
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think it's either in the next 10 days or I think things cool down. You never know. If teams are looking for something in free agency that they don't get or feel that they still have a need, maybe that can change things. But if anything, the intrigue, I think, will be around the beginning of September when teams are getting ready to go back to training camp, and maybe you take one last kick at it. But I think part of the reason why, and I know Kyprios was talking about this, that if this has been a real trade request from Hellebuyck, how impressed he's been with both the Jets and Hellebuyck keeping it relatively quiet and not as outwardly public as much as we're still talking about it all the time. And to me, a lot of that changed yesterday with what Drager had to say publicly. Because the Dylan Larkin situation, the minute that was thrown out to Helene St. James, and it was those three teams, public sentiment did a 180 on that guy. He is their captain. He's from there as well. So, I mean, that I don't think it'll ever get to that point. If Hellebuyck does come back and, we everyone thinks that he said, hey, he'd like to be traded, and it doesn't happen. We'll know why it hasn't happened, because no team has given the Jets what they want for Connor Hellebuyck. And I think most Jet fans will back that, because the worst case scenario for this is for a team to get bullied basically into trading their best player for less than full value, especially when you think about the contract that he has and the term that he's committed to this team. So not only there's something about the situation right now as far as what the return is, and the Jets have always operated this way. And I think we go back to Dubois, we go back to Evander Kane. Like, guys can want something, but if you've signed a contract with this team, we're acting in the best interest of the Winnipeg Jets, as much as we'd like to take care of you at the same point. And sometimes that takes longer than it is. Let's speak in the next week, heading into the draft. If a deal is done before Friday, what do you think? I mean, we heard Drager talk about 2C. That's obvious. He was mentioning a defenseman and a 4C, which, I mean, I don't know. I guess they got Rasmus Kopari in that deal, but to me, that's not as much of a need. I mean, I'd be far more interested in draft capital along with that 2C, and that's why the Florida, as I said, Bill Zito, don't even call if the 9th pick and Anton Lundell isn't there. That might be a no-go for them. But, I mean, in your opinion, if a deal gets done, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think the only way is a top 10 pick and a center of some pretty high value. And the only two teams that fit the mold are Florida and Seattle. I doubt Seattle is heavily involved, because it seems like their focus remains up front for them. But I don't think you're trading Connor Hellebuyck just to shore up the defense a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to make a seismic move that is franchise altering and trade the best player that's ever played for your team, you need to fill that with an elite package coming back the other way. And a young 2C and a top 10 pick, I think, goes a long way towards doing that. So it's the easy rumor, but I think unless it's the 9th and Lundell and some kind of a package for Connor Hellebuyck, that we're not seeing a trade take place over the next several days. I mean, the fourth line center thing,
that's whatever.
That's
the one thing the Jets can find in free agency. Like, we're good with fourth line guys.
The ultimate overabundance of what they've had in the organization for several years. So I'm not worried about that in the slightest. I think there's the potential for a package. I do have my doubts that Bill Zito would say 9th and Lundell for just Hellebuyck. So what would their basically, we'll call it, if we add this, like what that piece? Is it Morgan Barron? Is it a draft pick? Is it a prospect? Like, I don't totally know. But unless it's number 9 and Lundell coming back, I think Connor Hellebuyck the Winnipeg Jet for game 1 next year.
Well, and knowing Chevy, I mean, the ask is probably Lundell, a pick, and something else. Now, whether they meet, I mean, listen, guys obviously always start asking, I want this, you want this, and you kind of find a middle ground. But again, like, Bill Zito has the comfort of a great team that is expected to be right back contending. They've got this 9th pick, which is just sort of found money, considering, the fact that they've been winning the Stanley Cup the last 2 years. If they think that Hellebuyck is the missing piece and they can get by without having Anton Lundell, I mean, they go to do that. The 9th pick, I mean, I'm sure that's going to be draft capital at some point. Although I guess maybe they could just make the pick and knowing that it's going to be an old folks home there in 2 or 3 years, they'd actually have a top young player that they've could bring into the lineup. But there's a lot to get to on that. Listen, just moving off of the Hellebuck topic for a minute, the other thing that Drager kind of dropped was Cole Perfetti. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly the verbiage was, but put it this way, there hasn't really been any substantial talks, progress on a contract for Perfetti. Do you think he is still... Oh, two-part question. Do you think he's still property of the Jets when we get to July 1st? And thoughts on the possibility that he plays at the beginning of next season for Winnipeg?
I think Jets management made it pretty clear, what was it, a year or 2 years ago? They haven't been shy when they've drafted a player within the first half of the first round, that if they believe in you, that a long-term contract's coming your way. They have done that pretty consistently, right? And then you can point to the half dozen or so players that were drafted in the first round and then signed long-term. Winnipeg, famous or infamously, did not do that with Cole Perfetti. And I think there has been a level of trepidation or hesitation about just what his ultimate ceiling is with the team. The flip side of that, though, is that, he's still a productive, valuable player. It might not be what you had ideally hoped picking him 10th overall, and it might sting a little bit seeing Lundell and Jarvis all taken within that range and have had, increased levels of success compared to Perfetti so far, but he's still a player that can help your team. I think it is possible. I just wonder with with the temperature of the NHL right now, I just wonder if, even if the Jets wanted to do something, if they'd be able to find the perfect partner. Like I mentioned Seattle earlier, and I mean, I would be open, and I wonder if the Jets would be open to like a Perfetti Shane Wright swap, where you give some talented youngsters a change of scenery and see if they can thrive in their new environment. But I think there's other teams that could beat the Jets in a package if they wanted to hold their own, revitalization for Shane Wright. If anything, though, what I would say, Huss, and I'm not the biggest Cole Perfetti lock top 6 performer out there. You watched what Carolina did with Logan Stankoven and giving him an opportunity down the middle. If you're looking to find the 2C here, a center here, somebody to build, somebody behind Scheifele, sometimes just giving a guy an opportunity that you already have can go a long way. And if the perfect trade isn't out there, I would be much more open to giving either Perfetti or Velarde a shot at center to fill that hole internally. And then it's much, much easier to find some help out there on the wing. So I think it's a possibility, but I just don't know if the right fit is out there for the Jets right now.
Yeah, I'm really up on that. I'm thinking, in my opinion right now, if you put me to it, I think it's sort of 50-50 as to whether he's here. I think there is certainly a possibility that there is a deal, and maybe it's RFA for RFA, where they're getting somebody in a similar situation from another team that they feel has a higher upside or fits this team for the next 4 or 5 years in a better spot than where Perfetti is. It is interesting. How about Babcock? All systems go for the Babcock here in Edmonton, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like what my big wonder about all this is just what the conversations were like with McDavid and Draisaitl specifically. But as any former NHLer has said, like it hasn't really been the top end guys that have had a problem with Babcock coaching them. It's the ones further down the food chain.
How's Matt Savoy feeling right now?
Yeah, like it's still just crazy to me, man, that a coach literally cannot even complete his first practice with his new team, and he gets canned. And
he resigned.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course. Much different story. But that he's out of work for less than 2 years at that span. So it speaks to what desperation and I think poor ownership will do to a team, that they'll basically just blinders. How could we try to get a Stanley Cup this year? And that was the reason for it. And I don't think Vegas's intention was to top of the Edmonton Oilers, but it's pretty wild to think how different things would be if Bruce Cassidy was allowed to get an interview with the Oilers. What that universe looks like compared to the one that we're currently living in.
Dude, every day I go on EST on the Lock Shop, and now that Dusty's doing, a lot of CFL stuff, I'm doing it with Iwanek, I'm doing it with Glue Guy, I'm doing it with Dusty, and it's a different conversation every day, but it all comes back to basically going, I can't believe that this is happening. But the stakes are high in Edmonton, that is for sure. Rue, great stuff as always. Before we go, thoughts on this game tonight? How are you feeling? This is our moment. We have to have 3 points. Could be the biggest win in the history of Canadian soccer on the men's side.
Yeah, I know you said, Davies for the Switzerland game, all that. Nah, this is the one. Like this, you win.
You think they're going to play him today? So he comes in as a sub?
For me, I start him because I think the first 45 is the most important section of the game. Because you need to get a lead against Qatar. If this game, the longer it goes and you're not scoring and you're getting frustrated and Qatar can sit back and maybe hit you on the counter, like you just don't want to be put in that situation. So for me, I'm going for the win in the first 45, and Davies is a part of that. And, the hope is you have it locked up and you don't need to play him in the second half, or you hook him after 50 or 60. So I'm looking at this as the ultimate must-win game. The Switzerland one, it's like, we'll worry about that when it gets here, but let's get this one tonight. Please, we need the boys to be clinical in front of net. It's potentially their fatal flaw, but I feel like if they can get one early, it's going to turn into the biggest party we've seen in quite some time.
To me, listen, it's Jonathan David's time. He stunk in the game that I was at in Toronto. He got pulled out the first time ever under Jesse Marsh. Marsh backed him up big time yesterday and said, you're going to see the best of Jonathan David today. It is his time to shine. He, I assume, will start. We'll bet a beer next time. Davies starts. I owe you one. Davies comes in as a sub or doesn't play, you owe me one. It's just great to be having this conversation because even as early as yesterday, I was talking to Rob Gale out in Vancouver, and he said Davies a no-go for sure. And then all of a sudden, I get an alert later on yesterday that he's been announced as ready to play. So that is great news for Canada, and certainly will be a big boost to the fellas when we get going. Have you been watching tons of the games?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that I'm up till 11 p.m. watching Uzbekistan, Colombia, I'm safe to say I'm fully invested right now.
Hey, listen, I know you don't mind throwing a bet down either way. I had a ticket yesterday that had England, Ghana to win.
Oh,
got that one with 5 minutes left, and then Colombia -1. And they got the winning goal 8 minutes in. I'm like, somebody is very pleased with me right now in the gambling gods. I cooked something up. I'm going to talk about this with Jake when he joins me at the end of the program. But Jonathan David to score, Canada to win to 0. Lock it down, clean sheet, victory, Jonathan David. I think we boosted it to +313 over at CoolBet, so it should be good. Who'd you take in the U.S. Open?
I'll go with the New Yorker, Cam Smith. I haven't been able to watch too much.
Cam Young.
Cam Young.
Cam Smith is from
Cam
literally
Smith,
as far away as possible from New York.
I can never get those two right. I worked with his the guy that he golfed with in high school. So I got to learn a little bit about him. They played at Wingfoot. He had, I guess he had a membership there growing up. Pretty tough life for the kid, but his game's U.S. Open ready. So I'll say Smith. I can never quit Tommy Fleetwood until he wins one. So.
Tommy Boy's on the front page of the leaderboard at even. And Rory is tied 2 under with Sam Stevens and a guy James who I'm not familiar with. We got Aberg up there, and but man, I mean, if you shoot under par at this course in these conditions, it is incredible. And then Scotty just missed about a 3-footer, which maybe 4-footer, which he can't be doing. You cannot be giving up those ones in this in these stakes. Brandon, very happy Father's Day in advance to you. Maybe you can get some peace for as a piece for a little bit. Watch the final round if possible. But listen, enjoy the game this afternoon, and we will look forward to talking to you real soon, buddy.
For sure, yeah, I'll do my best. But sounds good. Hope everybody enjoys the game today. We'll talk next week.
Good stuff. All right, there's our guy Brandon Rewucki. of Skates and Plates fame. Check it out wherever you get your favorite podcast. Perfect time for a little Breezy Bend golf report. Shout out to our friends at Breezy Bend. If you're looking for a long-term home for you and your family at one of Winnipeg's top private courses, Breezy Bend is the spot. All the information on Breezy, as well as for an unbelievable spot if you're hosting a wedding as well. breezybend.ca or 895-7205. Hit up our pal Corey Johnson. Yeah, as I mentioned, Ben James, Rory McIlroy, Sam Stevens are your leaders right now. Ludwig Oberg is on the 18th hole, and he just putted in. He's 1 under 69. Great start for the Swede. Who else do we have under par? Brian Harmon. Wow, an amateur. Oh, he's only played 3 holes. Ryder Cowan. Neil Shipley also birdied number 1. Even pars include Chris Wrightan, Keegan Bradley, Tommy Ladd, Tommy Fleetwood, Alex Fitzpatrick. Ones, the people's golfer, Harry Higgs. Wow. Rick Fowler as well. Sam Burns is 1 over on 18. Michael Kim and Tom Kim are both 1 over. And then a bunch of guys that are in the afternoon rounds going out right now. Pat Reed, the bad guy, he's 2 over. Tyrell Hatton, he's 2 over. Scotty Scheffler is 2 over, but I think he might be 3 over. And this hasn't updated after that putt that he just missed. Brooks Koepka finished 3 over as well. As far as the Canadians, Nick Taylor is 3 over par right now. Ben Silverman is 4 over par right now. And I got to find out where our guy is, Sudar Shan. Corey Connors golfing 225. Bryson, Vic Hovland, Matty Fitzpatrick all this afternoon as well. Hideki, Xander. Where's our guy, Sudar Shan? Where is Sudar Shan? I don't see him. I somehow missed him. Or maybe they have mislabeled him when it comes to the tee times right now. But Mr. Yelamaraju is there somewhere, I believe. Well, I don't know if any. Oh, here we are. Tied for 21st. Oh, yeah, he's 1 over through 3. So he's just getting going. 1 over. Yeah, he'd like to have a birdie, but he'll hang in there. Hey, folks, if you're thinking about an amazing fly-in fishing experience where you can be on the water in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg, Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge would love to have you out. It is truly one of the jewels of the province. Just had a great message from Pitt yesterday about one of our longtime listeners that lives in Minnesota that keeps track on everything here through WST. Heard about it and went out and had just an unbelievable few days. I'm going to head out there at the end of, actually right before training camp with our winner from the HBC lottery. But AikensLake.com for more information on that. Or Aikens Lake on all your social channels. All right, special guest joining me live in just a minute. First up, though, let's crack a cold one and give a big shout out to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, back live at Boston Pizza. Taylor, Switzerland, Bosnia 0-0, 0-0, as they say in the beautiful game. Just heading into the 35th minute. Big weekend for the Fish coming up. And look who's here, live in person. The brains of the operation, the general manager, Andrew Collier. What's up, Cash? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So what's going on this week before getting out? How are where are we this weekend or this week before coming in?
We're in Lincoln tonight to finish off a road trip, and then Lincoln follows us up to Winnipeg tomorrow for the weekend for 3 games.
Now I'm just going to slide this on. How about this Canada themed? Can you see this, people? Can you see this? Look at that. The fish with the little Canada flag getting me all ready for the game tonight. And, of course, Canada Day festivities the day after our WST patio party, which is filling up quickly. Lots going on. Thank you very much for this as we get ready to wear red today for our lads in Vancouver.
That's right. I was leaving the office and I realized I was wearing all blue, so I grabbed a hoodie, grabbed a hat. I had to be wearing the red to represent. But yeah, the hat. Sorry, we talked about this last Canada Day. I said I'll get you a hat. What size do you wear? Yeah, no problem. I'll get it to you.
This is
it's
awesome.
Almost taken a full year.
I appreciate you. Now, I was very jealous. Remis, while supplies lasted, managed to get on that new era, and his new Manitoba Mosquitoes hat arrived yesterday. Those are phenomenal.
Yeah, the merchandise is done very well, and we're going to do another pre-order starting tomorrow, not on hats. Those had to be ordered a while ago. We still have some in stock, a few more coming. But if people missed out on the pre-order for T-shirts and hoodies, they can go to our website tomorrow, put in an order, and it'll be here before the Mosquito game on July 31st.
Is there any more of the new era snapbacks?
Yes.
Boom.
Yep, they'll be in the store.
I'll take one. I'm just trying to preemptively get just fill people in actually where that is. Obviously down at the ballpark.
Yes. Yeah. There's actually 2 stores at the ballpark. One on the main level, right next to the ticket office, and one on the concourse during the games.
And you can pop that in during the day. Like if you want to roll in, you're around the ballpark, you're downtown during the day. If you want to go in and grab Goldeyes merch, it's all there.
You bet. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday when the team's on the road, and then we're open when the team's at home.
Well, and it would be a great time to do that this weekend because we got a big homestand coming up Friday night, starting it off in Scott Oak night.
Scott, I'm really excited for this. After all these years of being in baseball, in sport, I've never met Scott Oak ever. So I'm looking forward to meeting him tomorrow night. That should be a lot of fun. Fireworks after the game. Saturday, Indigenous Peoples game with some pre and during the game performances. Sunday, Father's Day, bucket hat giveaway.
Nice.
Sponsored by who else? Boston Pizza. The
BP bucket.
They get families. So they're the sponsor on Sunday. Run the bases for the kids after, and then play catch on the outfield for people after the game.
What I will say this. Now there are some dads that might want to be glued to the TV watching the U.S. Open, but if you're looking for a great activity with your family, not far away from your family, might I suggest the fish game? 1:00 start. Actually, you'll still be able to go to the game and get back for the back nine.
You can do both. Sure.
But that sounds really cool. I mean, I think for fathers, not being one, but probably some of your best Father's Day memories are doing things that involve your kids. And I can't imagine something cooler. Going out there early, getting some great eats at the ballpark, watching the game, letting the kids run the bases, and then throw some, play a little catch. I mean, that sounds like a perfect Father's Day for a lot of people.
It's great. Yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of Father's Day, whether it was watching my son play baseball somewhere or the whole family being at a Goldeyes game and then going out and playing catch. I have some great photos of me and my dad and the kids playing catch on Blue Cross Park Field. So, yeah, it's a great day.
Well, make the plans, folks. Tickets at goldeyes.com. Get them now. Get them on your phone. You don't have to wait in the line for everyone showing up, just walking up before the game. That's the pro tip. And Friday, 7 o'clock, Saturday, 6, Sunday, 1.
You got it.
Perfect. Big series for the team right now. Now, not to take away from the immediate here and now with the ball team and this big weekend series, I would like to quickly bring up an event of particular interest to myself and many others in the WST chat. The Ballpark Brew Fest is back next month.
It is such a great event. We did it in 22 and 23 and then took the last 2 years off, just scheduling concerts, that kind of stuff. So it's back. And a lot of the Manitoba brewers have been saying for the last couple of years that they love this event. It's just a nice venue for it. It's great views. It's just so much fun. We have over 20 Manitoba brewers that are going to be at the ballpark on the concourse. So it's a rain or shine event. And the last two were a lot of fun, and I know this one will be too.
So just fill people in if they haven't been to this before. What, you get a ticket, you come in, and then you're basically sampling to your heart and palate's delight throughout the portion of the event.
Yeah, so there's two ticket options. There's the VIP, which the event runs from 1 till 5. VIP from 1 till 5. GA, general admission, from 2 till 5. So the VIP get an extra hour. They get some extra goodies included. All the details are on goldeyes.com/brewfest. So it's $70 for the GA. You get a little sample mug, souvenir sample mug to take with you around to all the brewers, and $90 for the VIP ticket. And the VIP is very limited, so get them soon.
Was that the 18th?
July 18th, Saturday from 1 till 5.
Hey, when's the tacos and tequila?
That's not till August.
Oh, not till August.
Yeah, 1920. We have Country Rising and then tacos.
Yeah, big event. I can't remember. Do you remember who's the headliner for tacos and tequila? Do you remember? There's someone that I was fired up to see.
T-Pain?
You know? No, T.I., I think.
T.I.
Yes,
right.
yes, T.I.
Yes.
He's from Atlanta. I'm a big T.I. guy. I'll have to be there for that. That's a wild event.
It is. And Country Rising, the headliner is Big X the Plug. And I don't know if you've ever heard of him. My kids certainly have. When I told them he was coming, they were pretty thrilled.
They were fired up?
Yeah. So should be
beautiful. That's a little out of my wheelhouse, but I'm not to say that I won't be taking part in that. Again, goldeyes.com for a bunch of the other events. Listen, before we go, we of course went out to the game last Tuesday to do a bunch of stuff with Michael and Travel Manitoba. And I will say this, it sucked that the game and what we were planning on doing cut short, but I'm not sure many people had a better view of an apocalyptic storm than we did in Sweet 18. Out of all the days for you to be out of town for your son's graduation, congratulations, Donovan, again. What were the text messages like that you were getting while we were watching literally all hell break loose in the skies?
All I can say is I can pick them when to get out of town, can't I?
No doubt.
Those 2 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, those are bad. Not only was Tuesday the apocalypse, but then Wednesday they had a doubleheader, and everybody hates doubleheaders, and there's a rain delay during that doubleheader. They didn't finish till almost noon. I rolled back into the office Thursday around noon and say, "Hey, what did I miss?"
Well, I got to tell you, I got to give a shout out to a couple buddies of mine, Micah Friesen and his pal Nelson. They went to the game, like the game that we were there. They, like, despite everything going on leading up to it, showed up, went to the game, got beers, rained out. We're back at the ballpark at 5:30 the next day for the game, waited out the rain out, and then finished it up, rocking their Goldeyes jerseys from opening day. So that's the sort of fan support you have. Rain or shine, we want to see the boys play. And how are things going heading into the weekend?
Good. I just want to say that's impressive.
Yes.
Tell those guys from me that's impressive. They're welcome anytime. Next time I see them, I'll buy them a beer.
Right on.
The team's kind of up and down right now. Just can't seem to put everything together on the same night, whether it's hitting is going and pitching isn't, pitching's going, hitting isn't. I don't know. We just got to figure it out. And we're 12-18 right now. Certainly not out of it. We're only 5 games out of first place. West is all kind of figuring out where everybody's going to end up, but we just need to start stringing some wins together.
Get on a bit of a roll, and hey, maybe Scott Oak can bring a little swag and start a bit of a run. I will say this: the team started off; they had a rough time at home, or on the road, I should say. Home field has been a much more a pleasant spot for the Fish to play. So let's get this homestand started with a win on Friday night and take it right through to what should be an amazing Father's Day 1 p.m. start. Run the bases with the kids, play catch out there after the game, and of course get there early for that bucket hat giveaway. Cash, great to see you. We missed you on Tuesday. It was great. Still, I'll never forget that day as long as I live. The storm, and shout out to the great staff. We can't wait to come out and do it again. And by the way, while Andrew's here, if you have not already gotten your tickets for the WST patio party, June 30th, Tuesday night. And Tuesdays, there's great deals on Tuesdays. We should mention that as well quickly.
$2 Tuesdays, yeah. Dogs, popcorn, there's a whole list.
Soft drinks.
Yeah, on
and then some cool stuff from some of the other concessions have sort of got in on it. But Tuesday, June 30th, our WST patio party is happening. We got the entire lower patio. We'd love to see you join us. We've sold this out the last couple of years. There still are a few tickets left. WinnipegSportsTalk.com. You can come, hang out with us, have a few. The next day is Canada Day. So unless you're doing a free agency show, looking at Connor and Liz here, you can really floor it that night. So it should be great.
I was going to say, I can just set up a cot on the patio for you. You just stay there that night, wake up, game time the next day, Canada Day.
Let's go. Cash, enjoy the soccer game today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the ballpark this week.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Right on. All right, there is our man, Andrew Collier. Appreciate the lid, and I can't wait. We'll have to get out for one of those games. But yeah, if you're thinking about something to do Father's Day, especially you've got kids like, somewhere between sort of 4 and 12, it sounds like an amazing option. And get there early for those cool bucket hats as well. All right, Jake's going to jump on for a minute before we get out and get ready. We're just looking out. We're zeros. 0-0, Swiss and Bosnia. I'm fine with the tie in this match, to be honest with you. We'll talk about it with Jake coming up in a minute. But listen, it's all today about 5 p.m. Canada, Qatar, Vancouver, World Cup. Royal Sports is your World Cup headquarters. As you can see, this insane ball behind me, that's from Royal. They got the official World Cup balls. They've got the Canada jerseys, Canada hats, Canada scarves, as well as teams from around the world. If you're getting World Cup fever right now, you want to support our team or another team, I would suggest you get the red and white of Canada. Get on down to Royal Sports right now. While you're there, soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, running, the biggest section of cool casual stuff around in town, and tons of bikes, including e-bikes, all waiting for you at Royal Sports. That, of course, is 750 Pembina Highway. And follow them on Instagram for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. Why not question of the day? It's too depressing to do a Jets themed question with everything that we're talking about right now. So let's go. Why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Canada, will we win? Give me your predictions in the chat for today's game. Canada, Qatar in the chat. And I hope it's all big wins for Canada from everybody. Big thanks to Andrew Collier for jumping in. Great. Really looking forward to this homestand for the Fish this weekend. All right. We've been cooking some things up. I said right off the bat, I couldn't help but Barry Horowitz myself. I have been hot. Crazy hot coming in with the soccer picks right now. We got to be ready. We got to be ready. We got to be ready for the okay, that's Jake. We got to be ready for this game tonight, and I got some picks. Let's bring in Jake Bowen-Moss from Coolbet, ready for kickoff tonight. JBM, what's going on? How are you?
Can you believe me? I'm doing well. I just got a message from Remo behind the scenes saying, turn off your TV.
Yeah.
So hopefully I sound better now.
Perfect. That was loud. It was like we were getting, the mic was certainly picking it up.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
No.
That's my bad.
All good. How's the,
that's my bad.
Man, Toronto was rocking last night with Ghana and Panama. I mean, probably the worst game of the World Cup, at least of the ones that I've seen so far. But a thrilling 5-minute into extra time winner got us the win we needed on Ghana. And then can you believe I hit the Colombia -1 on a goal with 8 minutes into extra time on the final play of the game? feeling very blessed. It must be the work we put in Qatar to get ready for this Grey Cup or this World Cup.
Yeah, it's been absolutely insane, Huss. The extra time, I think being back to even the France game, both teams to score and Mbappe 2+ goals hit all in stoppage time. Then yesterday, Ghana gets it done. I think they ended up having like 11 minutes of stoppage time in that Ghana game. I had Ghana as well, so I was with you there. And then I didn't stay up for the Colombia one, but I did see the goal this morning, like the 94th or something like that. So
98.
I actually today, the early game, I jumped. Was it 98?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, even crazier. So yeah, earlier today, I jumped on. I forget who was playing earlier today.
Czechia and South
I jumped
Africa.
on them when they were down 1-0. South Africa. So I jumped on South Africa, double chance to either draw or win against Czechia, and they scored in the 84th on a penalty kick. So that was a big one. And now I'm on the under in this one here. It's at halftime 0-0, so we're in a good spot. I think we're rooting for a draw. I think you already mentioned that, us. I think we're rooting for a draw here, Switzerland, Bosnia.
Yeah, you know what? And it's weird. And again, a lot of this is a little confusing if you're not an expert in how these tournaments work, and I certainly am not. I did just see on TSN, they were talking about from a Canada perspective what Canada needs, and it said Switzerland must win. My read on this, though, is if Canada, I guess if Canada wins today, which we have to, and Bosnia and the Swiss tie, they'll be both at 2 points. Canada's going to play Switzerland. Canada could get caught by the Swiss if they lose, and then Bosnia could beat Qatar, and they would win. So I guess we could get third place if we lose to the Swiss. The plan is, though, to win. So I am thinking that we take care of business today, and whatever happens, we'll be ready to go with the Swiss with the opportunity to win the bid. Very similar to the Qatar game. I see Swiss had 69% possession in this first game. Bosnia 31, kind of similar to the Canada game as well, but still 0-0 so far. Let me just pull up over at coolbet.com our lines for today. We've got Mexico, South Korea later on. Mexico plus 112. A draw plus 225. South Korea plus 310. I'm kind of maybe thinking draw in that one. And of course, the odds for Canada, minus 303 to win, plus 460 for a draw. Qatar plus 1015. It's all about Canada winning. We'd like to win by a margin. So, of course, Canada minus 1 is minus 107. Canada to win to 0 is plus 103. I do like that. And Canada win both halves, plus 195. They're going to be pressing for goals, even if they're up. So this is something that we can maybe get if they do get a good start. There is a ride with us. I called this in earlier today. This is what we've got for you. Canada to win to 0. So Canada basically to win with a shutout, and Jonathan David to score. Plus 313. And to me, David is a real key guy. He was subbed out for the first time under Jesse Marsh in the game that we were at in Toronto. Marsh backed him big time yesterday and said he expects the best from Jonathan David today. And I think in this environment against this opponent, it's a perfect time to get the Canadian top goal scorer back in action. He's plus 103 for an anytime goal, Jake.
Yeah, listen, I think it's absolutely Jonathan David time. There's been a lot of smoke around David and not putting the ball in the back of the net. I know that's what he's brought in here to do for Team Canada, so I think it's a great call by you tonight, Huss. I know in the ride with Huss, you'll notice, it doesn't have the usual boost, regular number, boost number. That number, I promise you, is the best number you're going to find anywhere. It is boosted, just kind of the way the correlation works and all those things. It's not, we didn't add the extra boost on it because it is already boosted at that 315. So for anyone curious why it doesn't look boosted like the other combo cards, that's the reason why. Listen, so that one's ready to roll.
And I will say this. I mean, obviously, we've worked together for a long time, but I mean, you can see for yourself. I mean, you look around the lines that we've been getting on the World Cup, certainly on the CFL. the best around as far as value. Certainly, I mean, when we're talking pick'ems, the value is there, and just getting a better number. I mean, if you're making a bunch of bets, the better a number you can get, it does make a difference in the long run. Couple of the things going on, Jake, just while you're here, I should mention with Coolbet, if people missed Pat's appearance with us yesterday, the WST Summer Poker Series has been launched. Our first game is next Tuesday. We've got 2 Tuesdays, 2 Wednesdays, but next Tuesday, the 23rd is the first one, and then Wednesday, July 8th is the second. And how about this? We are going to be qualifying 2 players, the top 2 players from our 4 qualifying tournaments, and then they're going to go into a final. And the winner is going to be going to Estonia for the Coolbet Open. And I know you can speak to it. This trip, the poker tourney, the poker golf, the dinners, the events around it, this is probably the coolest thing that Coolbet does each and every year, and someone from WST in our poker group is going to likely be there.
Yeah, honestly, like even if you're not a big poker player, like you can find your way into this qualifier and find your way into Estonia. And listen, it's an amazing trip. Like it is a really good time. Estonia is an incredible place. It's probably not the top of your bucket list when it comes to, vacation spots or whatnot. But the event that's put on by Coolbet is absolutely incredible. I think it's absolutely worth getting involved, trying to find your way into the qualifier, and never know what could happen. So absolutely worth it. The first tournament is up. I checked earlier today, so you can jump in that one whenever you're available. And we'll be ready to roll for first qualifier into the big qualifier on Tuesday.
Now, listen, I mean, when it comes to what's on a Coolbet, it's all about the World Cup right now, although your Jays winning a few games. That was a nice win last night. But, Jake, it wouldn't be a weekly visit with you on the program with the latest on the Leafs. What was your immediate reaction when you heard Jim Hiller was hired as the Leafs head coach? And is your opinion different right now than it was when you first got the alert?
Yeah, I mean, the first reaction was who, because no one in the media had this name floating out around there, which actually made me feel better. It means, the leaks clearly have tightened up a little here with the new regime. Like no one had Jim Hiller on their radar. I think Friedman said he picked it up the night before late, that he could be floated out there. All of a sudden he gets hired. And the more I've read about him, the more I'm intrigued. I mean, he's definitely more analytics driven guy. Had some good underlying numbers with the Kings teams the last couple of years. Obviously, it didn't end so well with his tenure with the Kings, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, and I hope it's going to be more puck possession style. I think that's what Matthews and Nylander want. It'll be interesting to see what the team looks like. I think obviously a big name right now out there is Nyes. Joseph Woll got traded earlier this week, so just a lot been going on with the Leafs. It definitely hasn't been a quiet off season, and it probably doesn't need to be a quiet off season given how last season went, bottom 5 in the league. They need to find a way, take advantage of this first overall pick, get back into the mix next season.
What a time we're living in. Both our teams missed the playoffs. There's a lot of noise around the club. Some of our favorite players might be getting traded, but that's the beauty of the World Cup. You can just get into the game and not worry about everything else. Jonathan David to score, Canada to win 2-0. If you want to ride with me, it is in the combo cards right now. You got until 5 p.m. to get any bets in on this game tonight. I'm going to be playing a little Canada over 2.5. I know there's a boost on a Jonathan David goal, a lower limit, but plus 200, which is good as you'll find anywhere. That's in the exclusives. And you guys just keep on cranking out great combos and exclusives for people that want to get in on the match tonight. Will you be watching this at home? Will you be going to a pub, getting together with the fellas? What's your plan for the game?
Yeah, I think it'll just be watching at home for me, Huss. I like the comfort of my couch. Obviously, they're over in Vancouver now, so nothing crazy going on in the city tonight. I'm happy to be at home. The other things I want to touch on too, promotion section. I know it's tough with this Canada game because they are such a big favorite, minus 303 right now. But we still have the fan insurance running, and we still have the halftime spins running. So if you want to get, free spins at halftime for this Canada game, or if you want to get insurance on Canada tonight, Go to the promotion sections, check out both those different promotions, and jump on Canada, get a piece of them. I imagine the Switzerland game will be a big one for people trying to get the insurance, trying to get some halftime free spins, but also available tonight in the promotions tab.
Yeah, that's there in the promo tab. And while we're at it, a reminder to all of you, good luck to everyone that went in the U.S. Open contest. Be interesting to see where everyone settles out. Get your picks in tonight for round 2 on Friday. And give yourself a reminder to get them in before tee-off on Saturday and Sunday. 500 for first, I believe 250 for second. Going to be awesome. And your weekly reminder to get your picks in for the CFL Weekly Pick'em. Jake, enjoy the game tonight, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Go Canada.
Go Canada, right on. There's Jake Bowen-Moss from CoolBet. Man, we got some cool things going on with them. But yeah, next poker tourney, the first qualifier, if you're in the top 2, you go straight to the final. And that winner will be cruising out to Estonia with the fellas for what should be an amazing week at the start of September for the CoolBet Open. Remo, it seems like there's a lot of tension in this game that we're going on right now. I mean, I haven't really been paying too close attention to it, and there haven't been any goals yet. But a very important game going on right now before we get into the one that means everything for Canada.
Canada's still looking for that first World Cup win. You know, they're huge favorites today. You think it would happen. You celebrated the tying goal.
Gotta get it.
Yes, last week when it seemed like, okay, Canada's got this first game, this year at home against Bosnia in the World Cup. So, you got the draw last week, but time to get, the full 3 points, right? Regulation win.
Regulation wins. The most logical and best system around. Although they don't play OT, but if they did, it would be 2 points for an overtime win after everyone got their point for the draw.
That's correct. So, the 2 draws in the group starting up. We got Switzerland in action right now, and that'll be a huge game for Canada next week. But it is Qatar, big favorites. Want to get the full 3 here tonight.
I'm just seeing the watch party out in Switzerland. There's some nervous Swiss fans there. Best case scenario, I've kind of come off the tie. I now realize why a tie could be bad, and even if we win, could end. The team could still end up in third. What we need is the Swiss to win this game, and preferably just 1-0. And then we can go in, light up the Qataris. We'll be at the top of the table with the goal differential and have the opportunity that even with just a draw against the Swiss to win our group. The match is coming up at 5:00 p.m. We're at Boston Pizza Taylor. I think I'm going to probably be sticking around here for this one. It was an absolute bedlam for the first game. I imagine it'll be the same, and it'll be that way at Boston Pizzas all across the city. Amazing promos, great beer and drink specials. You got chances to win great prizes, including a Canada soccer jersey. So if you are looking for a place to make it happen, it is your local BP. Get together with your crew, put the red on, and go Canada, go. Fun show today. Tomorrow, it's going to be Connor and myself holding it down. Remo's taking off for a day. And what do we have cooking for tomorrow? Tomorrow, Asa Riemann. Remember Asa used to work on Global Sports? He's now the sports anchor in Vancouver. Also covers the Vancouver Whitecaps. Big soccer guy. He's going to join us. Give us a feel of what it's like around Vancouver right now with Canada and the World Cup there, as well as discuss today's big game. We'll also have Murat Atesh. Very interested to get Murat's take on everything we've been talking about for the last couple days, with more coming out on Hellebuyck and his future with the Winnipeg Jets. We will talk a little CFL and pick the brain of Miron-Imagn going into Friday and Saturday's triple header in the CFL. And we'll also have Lee Hacksaw Hamilton on the program. So full show tomorrow, the usual Friday fun. But in the meantime, folks, if you're with us live at the office, close that laptop, get the hell out of work, get yourself to a bar stool somewhere or a group with your friends, put the red on, and let's get behind our Canadian team looking for their first ever win in the World Cup today. Huge thanks to the people at Boston Pizza, Callista, Roxy, the great staff here at BP Taylor, and all of you, all of our sponsors. Shout out you podcast listeners. Cannot wait for tomorrow's game. I hope it is Victory Friday after today's game. Connor and I will be live at 1 p.m. right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. For the entire gang, Liz is here enjoying those new amazing cheese sticks. Connor's got a pizza. Remis destroyed a wrap. It's time for me to have something to eat too. So I'm going to do that, maybe even a cold one. And then we get in for the main event. That's the game, 5 p.m. Canada and Qatar. Have a great one. Enjoy the game. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. for a big Friday edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Let's go, Canada!
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.